are available from the Nebraska Broadcasters Association, and spots are limited. Learn more at digitalexpressionscamp.com. That's digitalexpressionscamp.com.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
If I'm going to watch a man run around, I want to see him run around in tights, and shoulder pads, and helmet, mouthpieces, and gritting their teeth, squinting their eyes, some people closing their eyes, and smashing into each other. That's what I want to see. That's football. That's football. That's football. Don't nobody want to see no we shall overcome type football. They want to see some rock'em sock'em hit you in the mouth football box. Exciting football.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
There's no better way to spark a child's imagination than to get lost in the adventure of a good book. I'm Jenny Benson, president of NSEA. Working together, parents and teachers can help every child succeed. You can help by reading to your child and let your child read to you. Encourage reading in your home and make it a priority. Make reading fun and a time that you and your child look forward to spending together.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is, "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I think it's just vapor. Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as 1 pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous. 5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, "Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket," and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into Bigger Than the Score. I am Harrison Arns back here at the 1040 Ticket Studios, but we still got the host as always. We got Pete Ferguson streaming in. Pete, let's do a quick audio check while we got you live. How's it going on this beautiful Sunday morning, man?
You know what? Not too bad, man. It's a good thing. You all good?
Yeah, we sound great over here.
Awesome. You know what, Harrison, it's good. I'm out here in Cleveland and got a last minute opportunity to head out to see the Final Four and just kind of enjoying the ambiance, so to speak.
Okay, now I got a question for the Final Four. How close were you? Because I will say, when I watch those Final Four in those football stadiums, I can't imagine what it looks like when you get to those really high rows looking at a game from that far away. So what was the viewing experience like? It looks awesome, but I wonder what that seating can be like.
You know what? It was a phenomenal. It's the Cavaliers Arena. Wasn't that far off, to be honest, and we were pretty close to the floor. Great tickets, but I don't think there was a bad seat in the place. It wasn't set up kind of like San Antonio. I think when they had it was, I want to say, the Alamo Dome. You know, when I'm looking at the men's team, like those seats, like I'm seeing some people just are like you need the blimp, the Goodyear blimp, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing if you get to go to the experience, but this was a real intimate arena. It's built for the community, but it was, you know, like I said, you were close enough where you could see everything. The Jumbotron is nice, but you could watch the floor and actually see the game and really see the size of the player and the skill set of the players.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I was really stuck out yesterday when I was watching that Purdue game. Some of those venues, the bigger they get, I'm always a little bit intrigued on what that viewing experience is. But again, this is Bigger Than the Score. We've got Pete Ferguson streaming in, as well as we got a few other guests as well. They'll be joining us later. But in the meantime, if you guys ever want to join the show, Sartor Hamann text line always available to you, 402-464-5685. Streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, Allo channel 961. Pete Ferguson, there's plenty of things to talk about. There's Final Four. We got I'll give it to you, man. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, you know, and sorry about that. I took out the headphones. I was getting a little bit of an echo and feedback, so just switched off on the audio. You know what? It's been a great trip. It was kind of a last minute type deal. Got a text on Thursday morning and said, hey, if you're interested, you just got to get down here. And so scrambled before I kind of made the reservations before I even said something to the wife, because I knew my wife and daughter were going to be a little hot, especially my daughter. I got some looks on that, but first off, just want to shout out to just Marla Stiles and also one of her colleagues that was phenomenal and just kind of helping arrange things. But Sue at Hershey, like I said, or Sue Carter Wilson is a phenomenal individual, and just want to, you know, kind of thank them. But great opportunity just to kind of get out, see different things. The place is phenomenal. Just when you're kind of out here and seeing the setup and seeing what that looks like. And I've been kind of calling it the Cleveland Chronicles. So everything from being called Steve Harvey at a pizza shop late at night to, you know, just going to the Fan Fest and kind of getting my 3-point shot on. I would have to say I have 4 and 30 seconds, so I'm no Caitlin Clark by any means.
That's not too bad. I wonder what my number would be. But again, it's the awesome experience. And I know you got some notes, and I want to talk about it. We got to start with that women's game.
Yeah.
UConn foul. That was a big one at the very end there. I want to hear your thoughts first, because I've kind of made up my mind on how I feel about the call. But obviously, we're referring to that game, UConn, Iowa, that last second foul. She came up, set a screen. They called it an illegal screen, basically end of game, not enough time. Yeah. Iowa wins it. With that call, where's your mind on it? Because that was very controversial all weekend.
You know, I told people this is the thing is like I did one thing well in college, and that was screen. So anybody knows me, hey, you know, that was my job, get people open, do things. It was, you know, anytime you get a call, it's a tough call because I think there's some subjectivity to it, some judgment, you know, in regards to is the person in position. I will say oftentimes they give the people that are, you know, honestly smaller the advantage. You know, especially if they, you know, you make contact. I mean, you're 6'5", 6'4", you make contact with somebody 5'6", 5'7". You know, it's like there's gonna be a noticeable difference in it. You know, it's unfortunate. I like what Paige Becker said. Just, you know, there were a lot of plays that led up to that. That wasn't the play that decided the game. That's the one that I think people think. And I think really those people that don't really know athletics, there's so many things that lead up to that put you in that position. They were put in a position to have, you know, a chance to win the game. Iowa had chances. I mean, layups were missed, putbacks were missed, rebounds were missed, even in the last 4 seconds. And so, To say is it a foul or not a foul? I don't, I'm not going to criticize referees in regards to that because that's tough to do. But just recognizing when parents like, that's over the back. There's no such thing as over the back. I mean, you're at a college game and parents and people are yelling over the back. No, it's if they make contact. If the person's 6'7" and Cardona's 6'7", has the advantage to reach over and get the ball, that's not over the back. It's if she makes contact. And so just understanding the aspects of the game, you're supposed to give them, the step and give them the space, but a screen is not to be expected. And so it was tough. It was tough as a person who does it, who's seeing it, for an individual to end their career that way. It's just, they take ownership of it, but also they feel like, man, like I did something wrong. And I was like, you were doing your job. You were doing your job to put in space. Did the shooters set the person up with a cut? Did they do the right V cut? I mean, there's so many other individuals responsible, for what happened on that play. So I'm not going to say, was it a foul? Was it not a foul? It was the play that happened, and it was unfortunate because she played a heck of a game. She did. She played a heck of a game, and just to have your season end that way, you have to live with that, and that's tough.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you on the point that there's plenty of things before that play right there that could have decided the game for either side there. I mean, like you said, multiple teams had their chance to go ahead and try to close that thing out. Tough call. I will say, though, I know a lot of people are upset. I thought the refs were being pretty consistent on those illegal screens throughout the entire tournament. And I'm like, they've been if they were inconsistent, I'd have a problem with it. But it felt like throughout the tenure of not just that game, but throughout the tournament, they've been pretty touchy on that. Like, they're not allowing illegal screens to happen. So yes, it's a tough call to make, but because they've been consistent. Now, if they weren't consistent with that call, I get the argument, but they have been calling it pretty well throughout the entire tournament. And that game just so happened to end that way. But nonetheless, it's a great run. And I will say this year with the Women's March Madness, it's just been awesome. It's one of those years where if you go on to Google and you put in March Madness, it might give you the girls' games first. There's so much excitement with the girls, and it's been different. I mean, you look at LSU and Iowa's numbers, 16.1 million viewers. It's more than the NBA Finals, more than the MLB playoffs. Women's March Madness this year, just in basketball, you can even go back to volleyball earlier in the fall. Women's sports is just on an awesome run right now. And for you, what has it kind of been like just seeing it? Like obviously you got your daughter and she's always been involved in athletics. Like now it feels like worldwide, the women's sports in particular, they're just getting a lot more due respect, more TV time. And it's great. We're realizing there's good stories out there. We're starting to understand the narratives behind it. And to me, that's the only thing that was missing. They just weren't getting enough screen time for us to care and understand the narratives. But what's this been like for you just watching what has been so far just an awesome March Madness for women's?
Yeah, honestly, it's always been, I think females and as parents, you've always called it March Madness. I mean, I know it just became official and they just got the licensing. I want to say it was wasn't it 5 or 6 years ago?
Yeah,
just actually used the term. But as a parent of a daughter, as a parent of a female, you always looked at it as, this is what space that my daughter or young, women in general should be in. And so people say getting their just due respect. Again, I think that discounts the people that have always done it and given them the respect. It just may have not shown financially, but the investment was there. Those parents have traveled. There have been fans. We talked to somebody in the airport and they're like, we're 30-year fans of UConn and we travel to everywhere that they go. And so, I want to give a shout out to those individuals before there's 90-some thousand people in a football stadium to watch a volleyball game. It's to the parent that goes to, the basketball tournament or the volleyball tournament. And then they go to the baseball tournament and see the men's, a boys baseball tournament and sees a drastic difference. And still they go and support and they're in the stands. And so, it's been awesome to see, long overdue to see people get credit. I went to the Fan Fest and they were doing the Hall of Fame inductions. And, Maya Moore was there and some of the other ones. Saw Cheryl Miller. She was coaching the All-Star game. And I mean, how awesome at Cleveland State University, the place is packed. People are still coming in after the practice to, the open practices to a packed all-star game for females. And that's always happened for men. And so What does it feel like? It feels somewhat long overdue, but it feels almost the same as because I was, you're always going to support, we've always been in those spaces with our daughters and championed them no less than what we would do if we had a son. And so that's the kind of cool part is other people are coming into the narrative. Other people are coming into the same thing that we've gotten to experience and the joy. And my hope is and I'm just be real honest, is it can't stop with a Caitlin Clark. My one, phenomenal talent, does phenomenal things on the court, recognizes, for the most part at times, all of them, like Dawn Staley at the open practice, Harrison. And I'm going to tell the audience, I got to see her speak late last year, but is a true ambassador for the game. Was out at team practice, went up into the crowd, signed autographs. You should have seen girls that got her autograph. And I'm not telling you black girls, white little girls who had no clue, that I will tell you that probably would never have, known who she is and what she is, and probably still don't know what she's all about, run up and jumping and cheering up and down. I will say a disappointment. They went in, they asked, they said, hey, who's your favorite player? And the one young girl, she goes, or who's your favorite team? And she goes, Caitlin Clark. And I sat back just kind of as my educator's view is, she asked who your favorite team is. Mm-hmm. And so what happens when she's not there? Is the investment in the thing still made? And so I hope, and I just really wish, hope parents are talking about the overall concept, the overall investment, is that it's not one person. And again, nothing against her, a phenomenal player, but I also look at, Dawn Staley, she pulled, she has a freshman that would never get off the floor in any other program, but pulls her regularly. Mm-hmm. And so when people say, who's your favorite team? They're like South Carolina. Yeah. And so that investment is going to be made there. They're going to continue to invest. That's going to continue to elevate, and it's not based on one person. And so that's what my hope is that the continual investment made on the game, not a person, moves forward.
That's absolutely fair. I will say, it's one of those things where I think they have the blueprint. You can't deny people like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. You said it yourself. They move the needle for fans. They certainly draw eyes to it. But the real goal is, now that you kind of have this momentum behind it, you need to continue with that momentum. I'm with you there. I think next year I'll be curious to see what the numbers are with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. Those guys are both going to be out. But I do think there's an investment there. And if you've been watching the tournament, there's stars throughout this entire thing. You can go through multiple teams and they got their own superstars. You just got to draw the attention to it, have the narratives, and it's been shown you get that there is. And I think as it continues to grow, hopefully it's a lot less, player, I'm a fan of this player, more fan of the programs, but you just got to take advantage of it. And I think this was a great year to start. And the only fear would be next year if you're not promoting it the same way. I think you got to get the eyes behind it, got to get the stories behind it, and I think people will follow with it. But with that being said, real quick, let's go ahead and go to the men's side because that was another crazy finish yesterday. And then we'll go ahead and mention who we got coming in for guests today. But Purdue yesterday got a little closer with NC State. DJ Burns wasn't his best game, but nonetheless, it was still closer than you might have thought. Purdue felt like they're in control most of the way. Zach Edey, do you feel like this Purdue team, is this finally going to be the year for them? I mean, this is a team that was losing to double-digit seeds 3 years in a row. Now they finally get over the hump. They make their way, trying to prove the doubters. If you listen to Zach Edey, he's very passionate about it, trying to get his respect. Is this the year for Purdue? They got a tough matchup here against a UConn team that's been red hot. You can argue they've been blowing out teams on their respected side, but UConn's favored by 6.5 already is what the spread is. Your thoughts, Purdue, UConn. Is this the year for the Boilermakers, or is it back-to-back for Dan Hurley and UConn?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say it's back-to-back for Hurley and UConn. I just saw most of the game. DJ Burns, it's tough. I mean, you're going up against somebody 6'7", 7'4", or whatever else. I mean, there were shots he normally would have gotten. His creativity, and so he's going to continue to be a phenomenal player. But I just think what UConn has, their consistency, just their depth of what they bring to the floor. I mean, they struggled a little bit. Credit to Alabama. Also, Omaha native Latrell Wrightsell Jr., who played for them and was able to come back and have a tremendous opportunity to play in a Final Four and help elevate that program. But I do think UConn, even though they were pushed a little bit yesterday, I think they're going to go back to back.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Boilermakers on this one. Okay. UConn has been red hot, but Zach Edey has just proven to be a problem. And he's got a weird arc. A lot of people aren't necessarily behind the Zach Edey train with Purdue, but he's 7'4", he's 300 pounds, and no one's been able to really find a good answer for him. I mean, yesterday's game, I felt like it could have been even worse. For how many offensive rebounds Purdue was getting, they weren't necessarily converting. Their three-point shot wasn't necessarily falling until later in the game. That could have been what felt like a blowout, but they just were not taking advantage of those offensive boards. And I give credit to NC State. They battled through the whole thing, but it's just a tough matchup. I mean, Zach Edey, not the most flashy, not the most exciting, but he gets the job done, and he's been proving it all year long. And, for the sake of the Big Ten, I think the last time Frank Kaminsky with Wisconsin, who was that matchup against? I'm blanking on who they played. They fell short.
I'm going to look that up during the break. I cannot even remember who that was.
That would have been, I believe 2016 at Wisconsin. Yeah. They fall short with Frank Kaminsky. Maybe Zach Edey. It seems to be in the Big Ten makes that. They got a big center at it, Big Ten-esque, if you will. So I'm going to root for the Big Ten here. I think they can get it done with Zach Edey. Not the flashiest player, but again, 7'4", 300 pounds. No one's been able to slow him down yet. But with that being said, we got some guests coming on later. Pete Ferguson, what do we got today on Bigger Than the Score?
Yeah, no, excited in a lot of ways. Just was out here, and so was thinking, how do we keep it relevant to what's going on? And reached out to a scholar, Josie Ryan, and she just finished her collegiate career over at Regis University, and so her and her teammate, Sam Deem, are out here for the WCA, and they'll talk a little bit about that. So you want to be a coach, and you have to be actually nominated and selected to be that. I think they're one of 30 individuals in that. And so they've been doing clinics, getting, mentoring and insight on becoming a collegiate coach. Both of them are very accomplished. Josie actually was a prep star at Papillion High School, and her dad was the AD at Papio and is now the principal there. And then Sam, I looked her information up, and she was a tremendous prep athlete also in the Denver area, and so in the Colorado area. So I'm excited to kind of hear about their experience, what they've taken away as they've gone through their careers, similar to what we've asked other scholars, advice that they would have for younger scholars, advice they would have for individuals now, and then kind of their future aspirations, what they've taken away as they've seen, as everybody has said, the women's game grow in other people's eyes, but what do they think is needed for it to stay consistent? And so excited to have both of them, and they're joining us this morning. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. So we'll have that all right up next. And again, you guys feel free to join in. 402-464-5685. Starter Heyman text line open to you guys as always. And you can join in on the streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, Outload Channel 961. And shout out to Phil Maynard, 2015. It was Duke. Frank the Tank, 2015. Shout out to Phil Maynard, always tuning in as always. And again, you guys can comment just as he did. But we'll go ahead and throw it a break. And again, we got Josie Ryan, Sam Dean. They'll be joining us on the next segment. So plenty left ahead here on Ticket Weekends. Harrison Arns, Pete Ferguson. We'll go to break here and talk to you guys in just a little bit.
NEBCO is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEBCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEBCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People's City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Okay, kids, Dad's gonna teach you how to dance. First, spread your feet apart. Then, pump your knee, nod your head, shake your hips, and bite your lip ever so slightly. Now, with one hand in the air, point at people with the other hand. I call that the rock star.
Dance like a dad. It's a great way to make a moment with your kids.
Now, make a face like it just smells something bad.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Bigger Than the Score. And again, you guys can always join in on the show. 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line. And again, if you want to join this stream, it'd be a great time to do so because we got a full room coming ahead here. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, Allo, Channel 961. We got Josie Ryan, Sam Deem, both joining us as well. And of course, Pete Ferguson, the host of the show. I'll go ahead and kick it back to you. Where do you want to go with it, man?
Awesome. Hey, no, first off, thank you. I'm looking forward to talking to Josie and Sam, and we've got both of them here. They're also in Cleveland, so in their hotel room doing their thing. So welcome, Josie, Sam. How you both doing today?
Good. Thanks for having us.
No, awesome. Looking forward to it. So you all have had a pretty busy week, so we're going to jump right in because we want to get to as much as we can. I'm going to start with you, Josie, known you for a while and through your dad and everything. Tell us a little bit about who you are. Where have you gone to school? Obviously, you were from the Omaha area, and then where are you at right now?
Cool, yeah. So I graduated from Papillion La Vista High School in Papillion, Nebraska. I graduated in 2019, and then from there I went to Wayne State College in Wayne, Nebraska, to play basketball and continue my education. I didn't really know at that point what I wanted to study, so I went in undecided. I think I declared a major at one point, but changed that pretty quickly. So after 2 years at Wayne, I decided to move on from there, and I ended up at Regis University in Denver, Colorado. So first time living out of Nebraska, but to Denver, and I played 3 years at Regis. With COVID, I had an extra year. So I got to play my 5th year and get my master's this year. Ended up studying psychology, and then my master's will be in applied psychology. And I just finished my playing career, and then I'll graduate in like 4 weeks. So it's getting really close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hard to believe you made it sound like it was so long ago when you said like 2019, making us feel old. Harrison's a young buck on the whole thing. So congratulations on all that. And want to kind of get more into your story as we move forward. Sam, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? Your kind of journey, and where are you at now?
So I also graduated high school in 2019. I went to Horizon High School, which is a suburb of Colorado, around the Denver area, kind of. And then right after high school, I went to Denver University and went in there. Initially kind of knew I wanted to stay in the sports world, but initially wanted to be either like an AT, an athletic trainer, or like a physical trainer. And then after 2 years, I also decided to move on from there. And found myself at Regis University. And same with Jose. I had 3 years because of COVID. So graduated with my undergrad last year, and then I'm also graduating with my master's degree with Jose in 4 weeks, also in the same field. So psychology and then applied psychology.
Cool. And Sam, I'm going to start with you. Who's all in your family? I know some of them are listening and they've followed us on Twitter and retweeted. So I know they're out there. Give them a shout out.
So I have my mom, my dad. My mom, Debbie, played at CU. She is from a small town in Kansas. And then my dad is Tom. And I have a little sister who's 7. She's a junior in high school. Sid.
Awesome. And Josie, what about you? Who makes up your family?
Yeah, so I have my mom and dad, Jason and Shannon. And then I have 4 siblings. So the oldest is Kelly. And then it's me, and then Caitlin, Elena, and Ty. And then Ty is 9, so we got a wide range there. And I got to give my grandma a shout out. She lives right down the street from us, and she's involved in just about everything with us.
Awesome. No, I remember seeing her at games and always being involved. So that's always good to give a shout out to Grandma. So, tell us a little bit about just both of you, your background, just in regards to athletics. You talked about schooling, what you want to go into, but Josie, I know you were a multi-sport athlete, and as you talked about not really knowing kind of what I wanted to do or get into, I know you originally committed for soccer, and I know you'll be very humble and modest, but what kind of sports did you play growing up, and then how did you kind of come to basketball being something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, my parents had me in just about everything. There's pictures of me in like a tap dance costume around somewhere. But yeah, I played softball, I played volleyball, I was on swim team. I played baseball, was the only girl on a baseball team. Basketball and soccer, obviously. And towards the end of like high school, or beginning of high school, it was just always soccer and basketball. And like you said, I had some offers to play soccer in college, and decided to go with the basketball route. I always say it was my first love. I grew up around the sport. My dad was a coach and grew up with his players. I thought I was best friends with these high school players as a 7-year-old. But yeah, I have just always been around the sport of basketball and has done so much for me. And so, yeah, growing up with that has led me to want to be a coach, and that is why I'm here in Cleveland today.
Awesome. Sam, what about you? What involvements did you have, whether sports related or extracurricular?
I was a swimmer as well. My freshman year, I decided to do both. So I would go to school, and then I'd have basketball practice at like 5, and then I'd walk across the street to the swimming facility, swim from 7, and then I'd come home out of the house. But because I wanted to focus on basketball and knew that I wanted to play in college, I decided to kind of give up the swimming route after my freshman year, and then just decided to focus on basketball, and here I am.
Awesome. Well, so tell us a little bit. Obviously, you're in Cleveland, and I want to get to that on why you talked about why you wanted to be coaches. But what is what's a piece of advice that each of you received, getting to this point? And I don't mean it has to be like what you received, the last year or at this conference. What is a piece of advice that you received that you would be like, man, that really meant something? I'm going to share that with as many other people as I possibly can. And so, Josie, I want to start with you. What's the most valuable piece of advice that you received to this point that has helped you get to where you're at?
Yeah, I think the most valuable piece of advice I've been given is just to have joy in everything you do. These past 2 years, I started playing the game with a smile on my face and really just enjoying every little part of the game. And then outside of basketball, just enjoying all those like small things in life. And yeah, you might not have the greatest circumstance, but you can still have joy in all those moments. I think that just to have that joy has changed my life in a way, and it just has made me so much more thankful and for all my experiences and opportunities, and I can just truly enjoy everything I have that comes to me in life.
Awesome. Sam, how about you?
I think there's two. I think the first one is your experiences are what you make them. You have to be willing to do the things that are required of you in order to get to the places that you want to be. But with that, find a place that you are welcomed and that you enjoy, and people who have the same core values as you, and like just find your people in those places, because they will help you with the requirements and hold you accountable and do all the things to help you get to your dreams and to the places that you want to go.
Wow. So when you're seeing some of the things that are going on right now, obviously, people say the growth of the women's game, or and women's athletics. And Harris and I had a conversation earlier. I don't know if you heard, where I just think as a parent of a daughter, you're always invested in the same way. It's just now that some other people might be seeing it or putting value on it that it should be. My question to you is just kind of, how is that speaking to you now? Are you, and I don't want to say bitter or insulted, being like, hey, we've always been here. But what is this experience and being in Cleveland, and probably the most people that have ever come to, the sessions and to the fan fest, and it's sold out and the ticket prices there. Like, what has that meant to you? And what does that mean to you going forward?
I can start. It's awesome to see that. I think you said earlier how it's always been like this, and now we're getting that coverage, and that's what has led to this growth. I think there were people like LeBron James was tweeting about the game. All these professional athletes were tweeting about like women's basketball, and that was unheard of 5 years ago, I guess you could say. And so to see that and just to be a part of it is such just an unbelievable experience. And there's little boys and girls, like we're in a hotel that's right by the Iowa hotel, and we can hear every time they get back to their hotel because there's people screaming. There's little boys and girls sprinting to like to see these people get off the bus, not to talk to them, but just to see them like walk into their hotel. And I just think like I think the biggest thing is having the next generation see that and see what they can be is the best part about all of it.
No, thanks, Josie. Sam, what about you?
So I actually have the opportunity to go to the games, and I remember texting my mom while I was there at the Iowa game, being like, this is the most incredible experience that I've ever been a part of, because the way that I got chills every single time the Iowa fans start to chant and start to bring a bunch of liveliness to the gym. Like it's insane to be a part of. It's insane to witness, and it's going to be an incredible thing to share with the world, to share with my future kids, to say, hey, you know, this is what it was like, and this is what it now has become. And thank goodness, because we're finally getting the recognition that we deserve.
So, Sam, I want to start with you, and just don't ask you the same question. What is it going to take to normalize this? And so, I don't know if you heard the conversation Harrison and I had earlier, but I was at the open practice, and they went in the audience and asked one of the young ladies and said, who's your favorite team? Who are you here rooting for? And she goes, Caitlin Clark. And my thought was, and it may not be popular, is what happens when an individual like her is gone? Like what happens when Michael Jordan is gone? And so what is it going to take, if you're the commissioner, of all of athletics or whatever it may be, to make sure that this is something that's normalized above and beyond an individual?
That's a wonderful question. I think a lot of us share the same worry. Speaking for myself, when you said that, I was not in my head in agreement, because I think that fear is present. I think it's understandable, and a lot of people are questioning what happened when Angel and Cameron Brink and Clark leave, because those are the quote-unquote faces of the game right now. And as amazing players as they are, and their talent is amazing, there will be more people like them coming up. You have Juju Watkins, you have all the freshmen on the South Carolina team, you have Kenneth Hidalgo at Notre Dame. Like, I truly believe that in order for this game to continue to get that recognition that it deserves, the coverage needs to start to shift to those players, the players that didn't get as much recognition this year as they should have. We talk about like the Syracuse girl player who, became the third leading scorer. Not a ton of people heard about that. So it's making sure that the coverage is not just on those stars, but also on everybody else throughout the game, throughout all of Division I, maybe even Division II, III, NAIA, who are breaking incredible records.
Great points. Josie, what about you? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Sam really summed it up well there. There was an interview going around of Paige Beckers, and somebody asked her about how if she's going to take over for that face of the game. And very similar to what Sam said, Paige said something along the lines of, I hope it's not just, I hope I'm just not taking over for that Caitlin Clark. I hope there's other people in that spotlight and it's 3 or 4 of us. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, there's all these amazing players that are doing great things that deserve that recognition. And I think if people can see that, they'll easily become fans of those people, and that can keep up that this level of growth for women's basketball.
Well, and I think about just all levels too. This is a very, very small percentage, and know it is celebrated, and you all are here in that space. Thinking about the Division II level, the NAIA level, the Division III, the JUCO levels, those opportunities and those experiences of championing and elevating, all of those. I think the dream would be, and I know it's difficult the way things are structured, is to bring all of those levels in Cleveland and everyone be playing here, so everybody can see the greatness that is spread throughout. And what that looks like. I mean, you all have played, at that level where you could play at a Division I level in many cases, but because for, whatever reason, you found a great fit. You've gotten to go to a national tournament. that Division II tournament, I know my daughter is gone, looks very different than the Division I setup. And many people don't know that. And so there's these power conferences that you're stuck in, that you're playing the same individuals because of regional and because of expenses and because of travel, that creates some unfair, some unfair disadvantages for teams. So I know Harrison popped on. We're going to have to go to break, but when we come back, I want to ask you a little bit more about just moments that you've had, advice that you would give to, honestly, adults and educators out there, and then just what you're doing here at that WBCA Coaches Clinic, nuggets that you've gotten and what this experience has been like. So we'll be back on 93.7 The Ticket, Bigger Than the Score, right after this break.
Whether you like fishing together or fishing to get away, for the thrill of reeling in a big one, or just going out to have a good time, on the banks of your local pond, at a bend in a river, or on one of our many lakes and reservoirs, you'll always find the perfect place to cast a line, here, beneath Nebraska skies. Start planning your next fishing adventure today at letsfishnebraska.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
I think about all the infrastructure that got built up behind the scenes by Coach Osborne, that Coach Solich took over, and then some of that infrastructure was eroded. Matt Rule still has to prove this, but I think Matt Rule's style is that, yeah, he'd like the infrastructure in place, but I think Matt Rule has the personality to do everything in his power to bend it to the way he wants it.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes,
their age,
the way they speak.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
I believe every child can succeed. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. Research shows that children do a better job in school when parents are supportive. In Nebraska, parents have a long tradition of being involved in our public schools. That's one reason our students consistently score in the top 10 on national tests. Working together, we can help every child succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known, but what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Bigger Than the Score with Peter Ferguson on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back into Bigger Than the Score. Once again, I'm Harrison Arns on the ones and twos back here at the 1040 Ticket Studios. We got the mill open. These guys are streaming in, but you guys can still join in. We'll have Fitness Fanatics after, and if you guys want to put some faces to the name, show up, get a cup of coffee. And as well, I want to shout out Magic. Pete, he stopped in, wanted to say shout out to you, Sam, and Josie. I appreciate the kind words, setting off Sunday on a positive note. But I'll throw it back to the host, Pete Ferguson. We got roughly about 10 minutes here on this last segment. I'll let you go.
Awesome. No, I thought time's breezing by, but again, got Josie Ryan, Sam Dean. Both are they had expressed they're graduating here in about 4 or 5 weeks, give or take, from Regis University, and they are both have been tremendous scholar athletes. Josie, I can go down their accolades, all academic. I also know they were both all conference as well for a year. Had a tremendous year as well, made the national tournament. I know, Josie, you also made all district team as well, and then we're MVP, I think, of the conference tournament. So congratulations, and wanted to make sure to put that out there. Why don't you tell us, before we get into your coaching component, like what's a moment, what's a memory that you're going to take with you as you you leave Regis University? What made that place so special for you all? Josie, I'll start with you.
This year we had a really awesome team, and there's a lot of like in-game moments that'll take with me. But something that was like a powerful moment for me. We were at a team dinner, and at my coach's house, she had us over once every 2 months or whatever was NCAA legal. But we were at her house, and she has a guitar hanging up, and our assistant coach has a musical background. I think he has an undergrad in music or something. But he pulled down the guitar and started playing Fast Car by Luke Combs, and our whole team was singing, our coach was singing, and I think I teared up a little bit. It was just a really cool moment, and it's something that's definitely something I'll take with me. It's not every day your assistant coach is playing the guitar and you're singing a song together, and it was very cool.
Awesome. Sam, what about you? Experience you'll take with you?
Joe took a really good one, but I think, there's so many. Obviously, all the ones on the court. Winning the championship twice in a row, back to back. But I think just the little moments, singing on the bus, giving our coach some grief for coming back and, using the bathroom in the back of the bus, and we wouldn't let her because we would talk to us. Just singing with everybody, and the trip to Italy. Like there's too many good ones to choose.
The cool part is you all talked about, like, very few of those mentioned anything on the court. It was those other pieces. And when we talk about being something bigger than the score, yes, you've experienced a lot of winning, and that always helps. We've got to be real about that. But at the end of the day, those are the things that you're taking and you're putting forward. Want to talk to you a little bit about, okay, you're here for something that you were nominated and you had to be selected for, the Coaches Association Clinic. So you want to be a coach. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, and what have you been doing while you've been in Cleveland that you're going to take with you that will help kind of take you to those next steps. And Sam, I want to start with you, and then we'll go to you, Josie.
Yes, so this is one of the most amazing opportunities that I've ever had the chance to be a part of. The nomination process and the selection process is extremely selective. There's only 54 of us out of probably the hundreds that applied who got selected. So we were in a conference room for 2 days listening to a bunch of different speakers, both like head coaches, assistant coaches, associate heads, director of operations, all the things. So just being able to learn and speak with and connect and get contact information from some of the greatest coaches and minds in our game so far is just the most amazing opportunity. Like Joseph and I had the opportunity to speak and connect with Joni Taylor, who is the assistant coach for the Paris Olympic team for this year. So being able to speak with her and connect and pick her brain and ask her a bunch of different questions about everything that we don't really get an opportunity to see or be a part of as players was just one of the most amazing experiences of my career thus far.
Awesome. Josie, what's the experience been like for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Like Sam said, we were in that conference room and we just had speaker after speaker, panel after panel. They had panels of assistant coaches that 4 years ago were sitting in our spot, and now they're all assistants at D1 schools and making an impact. And I just think the knowledge that these coaches have passed down to us and have given us is invaluable. And and the fact that like Joni Taylor, she's here she's on the WBCA board. She's coaching. The USA team has training camp right now, and she took time out of that to come speak to these college athletes that just finished that want to get into her field. I think the fact that they're able to get those speakers is just, for us to listen to, is just amazing. And it's been a great opportunity and great experience.
So what do you think is, I always talk about modernizing the approach. And so as, DP oftentimes speaks about love and what does that look like? What is the love for the game what is